No, and we've got some special guests here today we're going to get to, so we're going to get to you right after this one. Welcome back, everybody, to Discourse. So, here we go. So, it's been a busy week. We got going on here. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that. Welcome to Capital Discourse. It is another Sunday, and it's been a busy Sunday week, and it's been a busy week here. We've had school shootings. We've had the President of the United States threatening to take over a sovereign city in Chicago. CDC is going through a whole bunch of takeover of sovereign city in Chicago, out of control, and so much more. But let's dig in. And one of the things we're going to talk about here is first up is school shootings. It's insane. It's another shooting that has happened inside the school. Children do not deserve this. They don't deserve to go to school and feel afraid. And as a parent and also as a former teacher, no child should ever have to go to school and fear any of that. No child should ever go to school and fear any of that. No child should ever go to school and fear any of that. In Minneapolis, there's a shooting. In Minneapolis, cut it.
Did you tell her?
Yes, I did.
April?
Yes. She's asking me what to lead in. I said just
Start
say
with the
hello.
school shooting.
Start with the school shooting. Go from there.
You can't take to these people if they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You can't ever do that. Ever. I'm sitting there, I'm feeding back. I can hear myself feeding back. It took to me to the screen. I'm trying to fix whatever it is out there.
I can't hear that.
Why is she not on comms?
Get her off. Get her off.
Oh my God.
Hey, Jess, can you hear me? Right there. That's why. Shut up.
Let's do it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a perfect world. Not everything. The way we went through the first time. We're going to get it right. Sometimes we just have to do. Today is one of those days. But I'd like to welcome you into Capital Discourse. I am your host. I'm joined here with my other two co-hosts, Jess Wyatt and Tina Beans. We have a special guest in today from Oswego, New York, who is sitting in the Veterans Protest downtown DC Union Station. His name is Matt. And you'll be welcoming him in a little bit. We have a very full show for you today. A lot of things have happened in this country this week. We've had school shooting, we've had tariffs out of control. The president is doing what he wants to do with his guys all over the place, however and whatever he wants. We can spend here for the next several hours on all of this. However, you don't have that level. So we're going to go over the parts that matter to you, and we're going to do so right after this break.
Christian, hit a video, please. If you're in here, hit a video, please. Hit a video, please.
For the Dakota right now, then we'll go. I'm at it.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Yep. He's there.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're here with Matt. He is down at Union Station, shooting against Donald Trump and his operation in Washington, D.C.
Is Matt talking?
Matt is
They can't hear Matt. Matt's not talking.
Okay, hey, Matt, can you hear me in there?
Hello?
Dakota's frozen. I can't hear him, and apparently I'm coming in the stream. So
Hey, Matt, can you hear us over there?
Can Matt hear us at all?
try now.
Hey, Matt, can you hear us over there?
Don't think so. No,
Try
Matt.
now. Try now.
Try now. No, Matt. Try now. Matt?
Matt, can you hear us?
Try now. Matt?
Matt, can you hear us?
I can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
Outstanding. It's great.
Can you hear me?
Just enough, but that's fine.
I can hear you just enough, but that's fine with me. It's an interim role we live in unfortunately today, and that's kind of what we're working with. I apologize. As someone that's from Muskegon County, it's spent some time, quite some time in there. I taught it to you, right? Tell me why it's important, guys, man. Why is it important that people come out and support? Why is this moment so important in history that we've never seen?
Yeah, so veterans are in a unique position in the United States in that we are given a privilege and a voice that a lot of people don't have. And the group of veterans that I have linked up with and came in down here to Union Station, Washington, D.C., we all have a similar goal in mind, and that is the using our platforms and our voices and our privilege to oppose this military occupation of our cities. The Trump administration is trying to use our military as political pawns in this political theater game show that he's got going on in the United States. I don't think it's right for the administration to use our military in domestic law enforcement purposes like this. It degrades the public's trust in the military and then our overall effectiveness. So we are just trying to highlight that this isn't normal. We oppose it, and we are willing to stay here as long as we need to see our goals achieved.
Let me know let the viewers know out there as well what they can do to really come and support you guys out there. And that we had talked yesterday. We talked about how, and I also looked up, and we've got some things we're going to share out about the regular show. I know within the broadcast, you guys need food support. I know that you guys actually need more veterans out there. I know that you guys are increasingly facing opposition, and you're also increasing arrested, during the protests. And so, like, if we want to talk about that a little bit, bring some links to that, because I didn't think it was one individual who was arrested, and don't let me do out of that.
Yeah, so we had one of our veterans down here. His name is Ryan. He's a trans Navy vet, disabled vet, who was arrested by Parks Police, I'm 90% sure. And we have a lawyer that has graciously provided his services to us. And we tried to get him linked up to represent Ryan down here. And the Parks Police would not allow Ryan to see his lawyer. And they continually denied giving information to his lawyer about what was going on, what the charges were, if there were any, where he was at, when we could see him. We were able to finally get him out of holding and he's out right now. But that was only after they put him on the docket for court yesterday. They put him dead last on the docket. When his lawyer got there, they made up or gave some excuse for why he couldn't be his lawyer, and then forced Ryan to take a public defender. So there's just a lot of things that are happening down here that are that should be worrisome to the rest of the country as well. That civil liberties like this, especially in the marginalized communities, are so easily just thrown away and discarded, and there's no attention brought to it. So that's a big thing. As far as support for us, we just need people. We need people to come down here, stand with us, whether you're a veteran, whether you're a spouse, your grandparents were in, or you're just somebody with no affiliation to the military at all, but you oppose what you see is happening. We need people. Financial support and all that is great, but we just need boots on the ground. This unifying solidarity of the American people is what it's going to take to really oppose and affect change for the better.
And we're still kind of overcoming our own, adapting and overcoming over here a little bit as well. I don't know, can you hear me still?
Yes.
So I mean, it's very important, and I know that. Guys are here currently to kind of come out and help. There are many agencies I know that need to raise it, and that would be more than going to come back and help. And if you'd like to right now, you can tell how best to contact you.
Absolutely, yeah. The best way to get in contact with myself or some of the other organizers is through our social media platforms. That's where we're kind of organizing everything. So USMC Angry Veteran across everything is where you can find me. Jolly Good Ginger is the guy who's kind of the face of everything here. He's a 13-year Army vet. The two of us here, and then a handful of others are really kind of spearheading this. And like I said, we're willing to talk to whoever we need to talk to show the American people that this isn't normal. It can't become normal. And until we stand up together, unified against this, it's going to be our normal. So that's really how the best way for everybody to get involved and help what we're doing down here is to go that route with it. So.
I appreciate all of that. I know that our viewers will, I know that myself, I'm gonna come back down, support you guys. We'll probably do another interview, kind of to clean up this one. But we'll be down there to really kind of just chat with you some more to see where you guys are, honestly. I know that I've talked to several of my friends up in the studio, and they said their well wishes to you.
I appreciate that.
They're rooting you on. It was serendipity that you were down here and not actually to be a reporter from up there. So,
absolutely.
We're just chatting with you quite a bit. I know you have to hop off, but, is there any other pieces that you wanted to do kind of get out of it?
Yeah, don't wait for this to get to your neighborhoods. Don't wait for this to come to your cities. Get ahead of it now. Organize now. Find your community now. We have to be proactive in our action if we're going to oppose this. We can't wait to get punched in the face. Avoid it. So start now. Start right now.
Thank you, Matt, for coming in today. And I apologize for the things to overcome, but I'm glad that you're actually going to chat with you a little bit. And I'm going to come down there and chat with you again. We're getting a little bit more going, and and in the imperfect world, we adapt and overcome to our changes in the military. We know where things should be, and we know that where we're standing right now. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm glad to have you on check.
I appreciate you all having me. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. All right, well, we'll get back to everybody else now.
Mute. Christian, mute them. Mute, please.
Welcome
Okay,
back
Mark,
to
intro.
Discourse. And I'm glad that we were able to talk to Matt. That was a very important message, and we're going to get more of that message out to you guys. It's a very important message that I think we need to get out here. Is the fact that, we've got military troops in Washington, D.C., and they're talking about going to Chicago next. But before we get into all of that, I'd like to go over the headline news stories for you guys. In Minneapolis, there was a school shooting last week, and it is the many of many. And I think we live in a world where thoughts and prayers, where we live in a world where, we'll talk about it next time. We will talk about what happens. It's not a world that we need to live in. This is not a land that we need to be at. There are many ways that we can secure our schools. We're not talking about these things now. We're not doing anything. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, said, don't just send thoughts and prayers. Don't just send thoughts and prayers. Do something. And I think, and as a parent, as a teacher, as a person in a community, I believe that, I live in a world where I can't go to the bank. I can't go to the courthouse. I can't go to a convention center without walking through metal detectors. I can't go through to any of these buildings without seeing security guards at the door. What's the difference with students? What's the difference in schools? That's our family. Those are our kids. And You go to school and you're there, and people walk in all the time. We've heard the stories. We're there for them. And it doesn't matter where you are. This isn't a city versus a country thing. This is not a white versus black thing. This is a universal problem that we have had here for some time. I'm tired of hearing the stories. I taught high school for a very long time. I grew up with educators. I'm tired of hearing the stories. I'm afraid to go to school. I'm afraid what's going to happen. It should not be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. Yet, time and time again, it is. And I know that the conversation like this is now being had. I wish that it didn't take this long. I wish that this conversation would have happened a decade ago or 2 decades ago. But at least we're having this conversation. And hopefully this conversation continues. And then I call upon everybody that's elected official to start having this conversation. The conversation of what we're going to do, not let's pray. And it was stated earlier, the President of the United States of America said, he sends his thoughts and prayers. And the mayor of Minneapolis took the screen, and we have that for you. He was saying that thoughts and prayers is not enough. We have that video for you.
When I see far left politicians saying, how dare you offer thoughts and prayers? You need action. I don't care about your prayers. I care about what you're going to do to prevent this from happening. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you pray for the speedy recovery of these kids who literally just got shot yesterday, while at the same time committing to making sure this doesn't happen again, or that it happens as infrequently as possible?
What's your response to that?
Well, maybe we're not really having an argument then, and hopefully J.D. Vance will pass this very necessary legislation that prevents kids from dying in the future, because, look, I'm all for prayer. Prayer has a deep foundation for so many people throughout our country. I'm all for thoughts. I mean, everything begins with a thought, but in this case, it's got to end with an action. There's a principle in Judaism known as tikkun olam, which is about healing the world. And essentially the meaning there is prayers are good, but they are not enough. They are a necessity, but they are not in and of themselves adequate. It's only adequate if you can attach an action to the work. And in this case, we know what the solutions are. They've been the same solutions 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago. Other countries around the world have suffered some of these horrible attacks, and they've said, you know what? That's not good. We're going to stop that from happening again. The only difference is here, we don't do that. Here, you see tragedy in one city, and then next thing you know, there's a tragedy in the other. One of the most shocking things is how many texts I receive from other mayors who have experienced a mass shooting in a church or in a school. That's horrific in and of itself. And so to the extent Vice President J.D. Vance is saying he's going to act, God bless, I pray for you to act. I hope you act, because it's going to be that action that saves lives in the future.
When is enough? When is enough enough? A better situation than we are down here in Washington, D.C. This is a federal district. We have barely home rule, and it clings on every year. You are in a state, you're in a better situation. The mayor of Chicago yesterday signed an executive order protecting citizens and as well as the police department from a federalization of their force, as well as from being pretty much persecuted for not supporting any federal troops that come in under the guise of a federal takeover in the city. This is to protect the citizens as much as it is to protect police officers. Because at the end of the day, they're putting them in a very precarious situation. What do you do in the city and where you wake up for every day that you want to go serve as an officer of the law? And then somebody comes in and politicizes it when you're just trying to serve your community. And quite honestly, I think it's counterintuitive. It's counter. It's all the way around contract. It just doesn't work for me. And we have the mayor also held a press conference. We've got that video here. We're going to show that for you, where he's stating, we're here to protect the citizens, and that's what we're doing.
We have days, not weeks, before our city sees some type of militarized activity by the federal government. It is unclear at this time what that will look like exactly. We may see militarized immigration enforcement. We may also see National Guard troops. We may even see active duty military and armed vehicles in our streets. We have not called for this. Our people have not asked for this. But nevertheless, we find ourselves having to respond to this. Let me be absolutely clear. Although we believe the reports we have received are highly credible, this is an erratic, impulsive administration, and it's not always possible to understand and know exactly how he will move. He could change his mind, he could reverse course. In fact, I encourage him to do that. Still, we take these threats seriously, and we find ourselves in a position where we must take immediate, drastic action to protect our people from federal overreach. I'm signing an executive order today that will launch the Protecting Chicago Initiative. This is a project that builds on the months of preparation that we have done, that has led up to this very moment. Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared, and every part of city government is directed to protect the people of Chicago from federal action. This sweeping executive order directs our Department of Law to pursue any and every legal mechanism to hold this administration accountable for violating the rights of Chicagoans.
So it's for Chicago, guys, for Chicago. And honestly, like I said, time and time again, we're going to have this conversation a lot this year. It's going to be a lot. Afterwards, but that is where we are right now. Also in the news today, the director of the CDC was fired by the HHS secretary. And in response, 3 other leading officials inside of the CDC, they're all resigned in protest to the Secretary of Health and Human Services response to his fire. And they have spoken out against this, but quite honestly, we're living in a world right now where science is questionable at best to people. And I know that science has really kind of grown over the last 10, 15 years exponentially. And that can be dizzying to people. It can be unbelievable at times, but it's one of those things where what we need to come to realization with is that we do know more than we knew 5 years ago. We knew more than we knew 10 years ago. And we're going to find out things faster. Does that mean that we should question everything? Yeah, absolutely. You should always question everything. But at the end of the day, if there's actual science, actual proof and math behind it, in my idea is that, it's something that should be taken at face value at that point. But again, that is where we are. Further down the line here, trade trades and tariffs. The President of the United States really has gone up against quite a few countries over the last several months when it comes to his tariff plans, his reciprocal tariffs, the Liberation Day that we had, and the inflation scare, and then also the depression scare that everybody saw for about 5 seconds. I think that out of all of the conversations that are had here, this is about the only one that is about within the realm of normal. It's within the president's rights to affect tariffs with the support of Congress. It's the role of the president to deal with the foreign, while the Congress is to deal with the domestic. And that's where, honestly, this is going to lay, and that's why it's in the courts right now. But we're going to chat about it a little bit because there's 50% tariffs that are now in play with Brazil. And what they have done very quietly in the last several days is that they have made a deal with China and made a much better deal for themselves and to ease themselves from United States imports onto them and get a better deal with China. So it's something I think that we're going to talk about a little bit, but that's where we are. Another thing that we're really going to chat about, and I think this is going to be a lens test, and this is going to be the New York City mayoral race. You've got some interesting candidates in there. We have, and the two that I really like to point out here is Andrew Cuomo and Monami Zawari. One is an established Democrat from the old Democratic Party of New York, and the other is a socialist Democrat, and he says he's a socialist Democrat. He has come out and he has said it. What does that mean for the Democratic Party? That's what we're going to talk about today as well. I think it's a lens for the Democratic Party. I think that we're about to see either an awakening, or we're going to see if the Democratic Party is going to kind of shift back into what it used to do, and that is edge to the edge, and then kind of, say, we're not ready for you. So we're about to find out. And lastly, we're going to talk about FEMA. Honestly, the FEMA 20 years ago, we were hit by Hurricane Katrina. And we have seen now in the last couple of days a letter that was sent out by multiple employees to the Congress urging for changes. The changes that the Trump administration has enforced have caused detrimental impact to how FEMA would be able to respond in an emergency today. And I think that it's something that should be talked about in every city and every place. We live in a land right now where we made a lot of progress after Hurricane Katrina. And we were, a lot of us were there for that, saw that response. And some journalists that I know were on the ground for that response. And quite honestly, subsequent hurricanes, we have seen a better response. We have seen a safer and a more active response. And I know that in the last several disasters, we've seen a slower response within FEMA. I think that has an effect over the last several administrations, but I do think that this current administration also has quite a bit to do with that. But we're going to chat about that too. And we're going to bring in our host after this break. And we'll bring in Jess Wyatt and we'll bring in TJ Fields. And we're all going to just chat about this here. All right. Thanks, guys.
go to them in 5 minutes.
Welcome back, everybody, to Capital Discourse. It's been a fun show here. I'm joined now finally by my host, TJ Fields, who was off to my left, and then also virtually with Jess Wyatt. I hope you're doing well, Jess. All right. Yes, hey, there we are. How are we going? I hope you're doing well today, Jess.
I am doing all right, thank you.
All right. It's been a week. It's been a week. Just slightly, ever so slightly been a week. Between Minneapolis, between Chicago, I mean, where do you guys want to start? I'm really honestly. Jess, I mean, like, I think we got to talk about the hard thing here. Let's talk about Minneapolis. And we got to talk about the hard thing here. I'd rather get the hard thing out of the way. Jess, you're in Pennsylvania. I know, GJ, you're down here in DC. What's your takes? Where are we at?
Well, I have a 4.5-year-old who is eligible for preschool, and next year he would be expected to go to kindergarten unless we hold him back a year, but educationally he's ready. I think this is the part of being a parent that I have been most dreading, is the personal decision. What do I do with my kids? I'm sure there are plenty of other parents out there who can relate to this. Most parents don't have the option to keep their children home and do homeschooling or take advantage of the cyber charter schools that Pennsylvania at least has to offer. And at this point, as we've seen, even the private schools aren't safe. And it is just this horrible reality to have to wrap your mind around sending your children off to what could potentially be their last day when they just need an education.
I mean, as a parent, and TJ, I know you are not a parent, but as a parent on my end, you should never have to think of that. I mean, really, let's just call a spade for a spade, guys. Like, it's horseshit. You shouldn't send your kid to school going, you know what? I mean, like, it's your last day alive. Like, why? Why do we live in that world? Why should that come across your mind? I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand why this is a conversation. I don't understand why we don't have greater controls. And as a person who served in the military and who does not mind the Second Amendment at all, I think that we need to have greater controls. There is no reason that a human needs to walk around with an AR-15. There's no reason. There's no reason on earth that you would do that. Hell, the military doesn't even like to do that. We know that because they're walking around DC, but hey, here we are. This is where we're at. But again, this is the world we're in. But TJ, I know you got to take on this one too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have nephews and nieces and younger cousins that go to school, and I'm fearful of them just walking outside nowadays. I mean, I've heard of the bad schools here in DC that they have metal detectors, but I've never experienced it when I was in school. So it's like, where are they? Well, why are we having these set in place where students that are negatively behaving and not all schools?
Well, it's a conversation that I think that should have been had a long time ago. The metal detectors in schools, guys, come on. Half of these shooters have gone in through the doors unchecked. Metal detectors in doors and sheriff's departments there. You can't go to any other federal or county building without having the police at the door. Why in the hell is a school the same way? I mean, really, why do you go to a school and there's no sheriff sitting at the door? We pay taxes, and we have sheriffs sitting at every county door. Why can't we have one sitting at a school? I know that would put half the parents at an ease on mind. I'm sure that the people working behind the scenes would agree with the fact that if you had a sheriff sitting behind a desk at the door, checking a metal detector as people walk through,
And come on. You can't even go get food stamps without going through those things now. I mean, really. But just, I don't know. What do you think on that?
I think that requiring metal detectors is something that has been, well, we had, when I graduated high school over a decade ago, at this point, we had metal wands going into my school, and we were one of the good schools in the area. I think it's just the way that this country is going. I think that we've entered the surveillance state. Nothing feels safe because we're not addressing the underlying issue. I am curious to see what would happen if we implemented some sort of insurance policy on gun holders. Similar to if you own a car, you have to have car insurance. If you own a business, you should have business insurance. If you own a home, you should have homeowners insurance. I think that I don't know. I don't know a lot of solutions, but it's more than thoughts and prayers.
I feel like that's probably the most effective and cheapest solution that we have right now that doesn't require having Congress do a damn thing. Because I mean, quite honestly, we're going to sit here and wait for Congress to do something, and we're going to be holding our breath till we die. I mean, really, I'm going to be 900 years old waiting for this thing to happen, and it's not going to be a thing. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what do you do? What do you do at that point? But I think that is one thing that you can do right now is definitely add metal detectors in and people at the door. It's a cheap and easy, quick, temporary gap. At least add some layers of protection. You're never going to be foolproof, I don't think, from a madman. A madman is a madman is a madman is a madman. You're never going to be foolproof from them. But, and Keisha, you can definitely hop in there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I honestly think that if you're in a situation where you're trying to figure out how best to protect kids, I think that everybody should be at the table, and that includes all of the groups that are spending money on trying to make that not happen. I don't know, you guys can correct me on that.
No, I think we bring back up the talk about teachers having to carry guns. Even if it's just like one that's non-lethal, that you can hit someone with pepper spray and they'd be blinded for the few minutes where security guards can enact some way. Even just ones that, might, a stun gun, there's ways around this. And like I said, like you said, there needs to be the talk had.
I mean, yeah, but there's also a greater talk that we're not having either, and that's mental health. But hey, that we live in a world where that's not a thing that we need to chat about, right? But I honestly, if you start talking about mental health more, you start talking about greater controls out there, you start talking about better gun regulation, not gun control. We don't want to take your guns. When you talk about regulations, there's no reason why a person who owns an AR-15 shouldn't have to go through a greater class than a guy who owns a 9mm. I mean, really, you're going to own a weapon that's going to do more. You have to do more. You drive a car, you get a Class C license. You drive a big rig, you get a CDL. What's so hard there? I don't know. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. What do you think? Going all crashing all out.
I think that there's a lot to be said about just the sensationalism that comes after these things. I think people who are desperate make desperate choices. And I don't want to really hold space for these shooters, but I do imagine that they're just yet another symptom of a system that has failed us. And
you're right. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I mean, and again, we live in that spot where we don't want to hold that space, but the system continuously fails us here. But I mean, like, I know we've been here for a minute. We've been overcoming some problems for our own today. So I'm going to kind of speed us along here. And I'll move on to Chicago. We spent the last couple of weeks here talking about DC, guys. And here we go again, Chicago. What do you think, Jess? Because I mean, you're in a small town, big town area up there, but, we're in the DC area, so we've been living with it now for 2 weeks, but now that this is spreading, where are you at? Like, you're seeing this now being a thing, and he's talking about this in other cities.
I'm not surprised. They've said that they're going to use this as a template for future actions that they're taking. I think that it was great that the Chicago mayor said, don't come here. You're not welcome here. We're not asking for your help. We don't want you to arrive. Your purpose is to come when we ask you to. And we are specifically saying, do not come. They also spoke on the erratic nature of the president and his decisions. And I think that it's hard to come back from that, to be honest. It's hard to do that, but if we're not exercising our rights, if we're not standing up for ourselves and speaking out for ourselves, even if we're being ignored, then they're going to do what they want anyway. They're going to do what they want regardless. But if we can at least speak up and speak out, then hopefully we can garner enough support along the way to make the changes that we want to see.
Agreed. TJ, where you at on this? Because really, we are here.
Well, I read a comment earlier that I think I completely agree with, and it sounded like a call for, the Civil War. And that is a very scary thought to think about because, we got a whole city banding together to, go against everything that the president's saying. So there's no telling who else is going to follow that behind.
Yeah, but I think that there's also a level too where we have to, on both sides, have to carry a level of reason. And we're living in a world right now where it's not hard to crash out. Because really, guys, it's really not hard to crash out. You guys you can kirk out, go ham, do all the things. We can use all the different lingo we possibly can in the entire world. But at the end of the day, we need to still hold our wits about ourselves, figure out a solution rather than, doing the stupid ass thing. That's where I'm at anyway. But, I think part of that too is going to require solutions to come from both sides. And quite honestly, right now, I don't think we're living in a spot where that can happen.
I don't think any solutions are going to be made. Honestly, we've got a president that is so imbecile, and the people are tired of it.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, but no. I think the world keeps saying that Donald Trump is stupid and that J.D. Vance is stupid. He's not. He's not stupid. The man is president of the United States of America. He's not stupid. The problem is that he's exerting his ways in a way nobody should agree with at this point. The man's not stupid. He's where he is because he's not stupid. But he's here doing the things that are just unreasonable. And that's where I'm at. And I know that other people are going to feel other ways, but that's where I'm at. The man, he is here, he's president. And the problem, too, where we get into a dangerous world, and we've said this when President Obama was president, when President Biden was president, with former presidents, George Bush, former presidents Clinton. We can't hope for the man to fail either because we're on the same damn plane. But at the same time, I'm not going to give up my rights either. So there's that. But hey,
I think I hear your point about the man not being stupid. I think is stupid, but he took advantage of our vulnerability. We came off a point where, we had a president that probably was a little senseless just because he was in old age, but also we were coming off of COVID. We were just in a bad time. So at the time, his stupidity was his confidence. And we saw something in that. And we're just
I mean, like, to an extent, you're not wrong. I mean, yes, I don't know where you at on that one. Like, I mean, to an extent, you're not wrong, but, you know, it's more like that boyfriend that comes creeping back in every now and then. Where you at, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't think he's stupid either. I think that he makes dumb choices. I don't agree with his choices, but at the same time, I don't think he's stupid. I think he's irrational and erratic and impulsive. But I also think that he's highly calculated and conniving and willing to do what it takes for him to get what he wants. And unfortunately, he is self-serving and he does not necessarily want what is best for the country unless it's best for him. And you know, that's what we're seeing here. He's acting selfishly in the best interest of Donald Trump, Donald Trump's family, Donald Trump's businesses, and he is using the platform of America to support him.
Yeah, I mean, to see his face in downtown DC now, everywhere, that is pure dictatorship right there. I don't know where we're going with this.
I mean, I feel that, I feel that, and I think we all have that fear a little bit too, inside everybody. And it doesn't matter if you're right or left. I think inside there's a thought, at least one stray black brain cell back there that's going, hey, what if this guy doesn't give it up and hands it off to his kid, and his kid hands it off to his kid, and then we've got this dynasty that became an oligarchy, and we got rid of the presidency, and it is now a lot more like Russia and a lot less like anywhere else on earth. And I think that that's a thought that has been had. I think that the United States has pulled itself away from being a representative republic and more to an oligarchy every single day. I think that money and cash is king, and it has proven itself time and time again. Power is influence, and that guy in the smoky dark corner can run the world. And you will never meet that guy. And so Donald Trump in itself, to me, and this is just my approach, doesn't frighten me. It's the guy that's in the dark corner smoking a cigarette with a glass of brandy in his hand. That's who I'm afraid of. But you know, that's kind of the response where I'm at, and I think that is what's running the country right now. We've seen that time and time again. And I know that there's been the rumors flying around about Donald Trump, but I'm not even going to get on the rumor mill. But at the end of the day, all I can say to those folks that are on the rumor mill is this: make sure you're not hoping for something, because the devil you know right now, the devil you know. But we're going to move on a little bit here, and we're going to kind of chat about the Chicago mayor. You know, we're going to kind of hit on this really fast. You know, I'm sorry, not the Chicago mayor. My bad. We're going to talk about the CDC. Sorry, it's Sunday, guys. Here it is. CDC. Robert F. Kennedy. I mean, like, I don't even know how to start from there. I don't know, Jess, you want to just take this one? Like, I don't know. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, I mean, are we super surprised that this is where the administration is taking the CDC? Because I specifically remember some questionable actions the first time this administration had influence over the CDC, and we saw a pandemic. So I don't know about you, I remember 2020, and it was not a whole lot better than it is now, and here we are taking steps forward to do what? I don't know.
I mean, but that's where I'm at, right? Like, and you guys are just going to get us all natural at this point, because like we've already been through hell, fam, getting in here to y'all, so like we're just going to go. And I'm just going to crash out with it. Okay, number one, I don't know if you remember during the pandemic, bros, but that vaccine was pushed by the man that's in office right now. So like currently the dude that's working for him is calling his own boss an idiot by saying that we don't believe in the vaccine, seeing as though he was the guy during the whole thing that said, yo, take this, see what I did? And I got you that Trump money. Wow, I bet you love that. And now we're sitting here going, I don't know about that science. I don't know. It's like, which one do you want me to believe? Where we at? I mean, really.
Well, I know
where we at?
What do you believe in, Jess?
I know what I believe in terms. Well, in terms of the vaccine, the guy who did the one study that shows that vaccines cause problems and not the solutions they say they do. You know, the study that everyone likes to point to that say vaccines cause autism. That man lost his license. Like, that's how that story ended. He falsified his findings and lost his license. Yet that is the research that everyone points to say vaccines cause autism. So no, I don't, like, vaccines are important. We're seeing a rise in preventable illnesses that we can prevent with these vaccines. We are seeing deaths from them. And people are saying, oh, that's better than a kid with autism. Like, that is just a slippery slope away from eugenics. And I'm going to be the one to say it. It's bad, and that's where we're heading. If you guys don't think that's the next step after all of these ICE raids and detainments,
I mean,
you haven't seen the writing on the wall.
yeah. I mean, but TJ, I'm gonna let you go before I crash out on this one, because if I get started, I'm not gonna stop.
No, I'm sorry to spread fear. I think this is the wrong time to be worrying about the CDC. We already have, the mentions of the flesh-eating worms in Maryland. We have the mentions of the black pig. Well, where are we going? Because I'm walking around trying to make sure that every inch of me is okay right now. And we're letting people go in the CDC that can possibly, warn us about what's going on here.
Let me put it to you guys like this, and I'm going to be slightly indelicate. Not that I've been delicate this whole day at this point going forward, but hey, I'm going to be slightly indelicate, and I'm going to be very crass. Let me tell you, first off, the reason we know that there's more autism in the world because we know how to find it. I mean, let's be real, guys. We know what autism is. You're going to know what something is. If you know what something is, you know where to find it and how to test for it. You're going to find more of it. It's like, hey, you know what? What's that big ball of light out there? I don't know. Let's figure out. It's sunlight. Oh, let's go test and see how much sunlight gets places. Oh, we know how to look at sunlight more now. Let's build a device. This is where we are, guys. We can find it. We know what it is. It's not vaccines. You know what it looks like. You know what it is. But let's kind of back up even more here. Vaccines, bro, like the COVID vaccine, all of the rest of it. Like, come on. You have the right not to take it. Because this is America and you can do that. And maybe if you want to not take that vaccine, and if you want to not take the polio vaccine, and you kids don't want to take them, that's fine. But this becomes really the indelicate part here is, if you don't take the COVID vaccine, you will probably be fine. I hope that you don't have an autoimmune disorder that's going to fire up from it. And hopefully that blood type that infects COVID more isn't there. But let me tell you, if you don't go take the polio vaccine, if you don't go take all this other stuff, let me tell you what's happening. Tiny boxes. Tiny boxes. You don't give your kids the vaccine, they will die. If they get it, they will die. They will become paralyzed and they will die. That's what happens. It's not a joke. It's a reality, guys. So you can sit there and all the live long day and say, I'm not going to take the vaccine. I'm not going to get my kids all of those vaccines either that require them to go to school because I'm going to teach them at home anyway. So they don't need polio vaccine. They don't need rubella. They don't need any of that stuff. When they get it, they will die. You will give it to them. You will give it to them and they will die. And that is what it is.
Science is not a speculation right now.
I mean, it is a proven fact at this point, guys. It really is. It's a proven fact.
But Dakota, these illnesses though, they don't exist though. Why would my kids get it if these illnesses don't exist?
Right. Yeah, it was because it was the worm in the head and that was the apples that you didn't eat when you were a kid. All that shit. Like, yeah, these vaccines, like these things that actually aren't there. Except, there was a former president who had it and lived in a wheelchair. And he saved our asses, I believe. I'm pretty sure he decided to save our asses. He was there for that. I don't know if you heard this little project called Trinity, but whatever. Here we are, fam. But don't take your vaccine. We spent the time spent the resource, and the energy to figure out a way to stay alive. And your families and your predecessors all did that. That wasn't COVID vaccine. You could fight about the COVID vaccine all the live long day, and you have the right to do so. Damn thing's only 5 years old. Of course, we're going to find out more as we go. Polio is not 5 years old, guys.
This one for you, the flu shot. Whatever happened to the flu shot?
I mean,
so now they don't talk about it anymore.
but I mean, like,
People are still dying.
here, I'm going to end it with this part here, because we can spend here all day, but I'd like to get us through everything. At the end of the day, here's what I'm going to tell y'all, fam. All right? I like money, and I like to go to work, okay? And I know that everybody else likes money, and they like to get that money in whichever ways that they get that money. I'm going to say this. You cannot believe in all that stuff all the live long day, but if you know you're sick, don't get in my face or put a mask on. I swear to God. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. Do not expose somebody because you want to protest. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's not. It's just not. Don't do it. Why would you do that? So, I mean, if you know you're sick, stay home. I don't know where that mentality went to anyway, because COVID existed. We decided we were all going to crash out. You got the flu, you stayed home. I thought there was a point where you were a kid, you wanted to stay home from school and watch Price is Right and eat some SpaghettiOs. But here we are.
I don't like going to work.
I mean, really, stay the hell home. But we will move on. Tariffs, guys. But you know what? It's not just tariffs. It's not just tariffs. It's inflation. It's all the things. It's a tax. It's the big, beautiful bill. It's every little piece that comes along with it. It's not just one thing. Brazil has moved. It has moved. It has moved itself. It has done itself away from being dependent on America, and it is doing so more and more. Many other countries are sliding away from being dependent on America. We're very close to trying to be irrelevant right now. We have moved ourselves back from a global stage in where we were dominant and we were sending stuff out to this very undominant stance. And this is very opposite of what the president says that he was going to do. And quite honestly, and this is where I am calling out the Republican Party, is that they are doing quite the opposite of what they said they were going to do. We were going to go in and do all this dominance. We can't seem to land a deal. You've got these massive importers, exporters going over to China, and they're going over to Russia, and they're making these deals. You got China and Russia making these massive, massive deals. Hell, Canada's over there making new deals for their Arctic fox instead of doing the golden dome. So, like, tell me, where we at, guys? Because, like, I don't know. I know that most of you guys aren't necessarily big on the economics, but I feel like, you know, we got to talk about it somehow because, bro, shit's going to get crazy. Jeff, I don't know where you're at.
I don't really believe that tariffs work. Like you said, economics is not my formal education. It's not, it's probably the thing that I know less about. But I do know that it impacts small business. I know that when you're placing tariffs, everything gets more expensive and then inflation happens. And we're seeing the Fed rate getting cut, you know, and why is that happening? Is it to stimulate a slowing economy? Why is the economy slowing? You really think these tariffs are going to be the ones, the things that that reinvigorate our economy? Like I just don't. I don't see how that's going to happen, and I don't see how charging our allies or the other countries that we're trying to work better with, how charging tariffs is going to help this political stage.
I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I don't know if TJ, where you at on this? Because I mean, like, really.
No, I'm with you guys. I thought we were making America great again, not making America broke again.
I mean, but here's the thing, right? The Republican Party is all about economics, and I am a believer that they have consistently shown a stronger approach to economics in the last 15 years. There was a time there during this, guy that liked this other gal that worked in the White House that they were kind of sucking in that department. And there was another guy that was a governor from California, but, we won't talk about those time periods in the 1980s and the 1990s there. Because, it's about the economy, Steve. And that's really what it comes down to. It's about the economy. And at the end of the day, I understand the approach. Let me put it that way. I understand the approach of reciprocal tariffs. Why would you not charge somebody the same thing that they're charging you? Okay? And that's like that New York City, okay, you're going to charge me, I'm going to charge you. Okay, I get that. But we also have to remember where we stand, right? America's economy is much more dominant than most of these countries that we are doing reciprocal tariffs in, and some of the countries that we do them in, our dollar is 10 times stronger than everything else. And at the end of the day, we need to keep that in perspective when we're looking at the land of tariffs. That's why the response is so visceral. It can't be any other way. Some of these countries can't afford that, so they're going to go find a way to make a deal. If somebody is going to hold you hostage and say, hey, Dan, you're going to be paying me this now because you can afford it, and you really can't, what are you going to do? You'll find some new friends. And I fear that that's where we are, and that's where Smoot-Hawley happened. That's what happened then during that time, the Smoot-Hawley Act. And we've seen where we've tried to up the tariffs, and we have not fared that well. But that brings us into the next thing is when we get to that point, what happens in elections? I think that we're getting into a point now where we're starting to see some of these Democratic primaries start to kick off. One of the most interesting ones is the New York City primary for mayor with Zohran Madami and against the former governor Andrew Cuomo. I mean, as someone who also lived in New York for quite some time, for those who don't understand who Andrew Cuomo is the former governor of New York. He is the son of Mario Cuomo, who was also governor, mayor, New York. And his brother was a host on CNN. And like brother, the two of them were forced to step down through inappropriate handlings of both of their offices. One as a journalist and one as the governor, and through what was a massive sexual harassment approaches. But during this primary, former Governor Cuomo is running for New York City mayor, which a lot of people look at as this long shot. And I think has paved the way for Madami to kind of step into play. And we're now looking at a very serious fight with a Democrat socialist running for mayor. And we really have to talk about this now. This is a really an actual thing. I mean, yeah, everybody said it when Biden ran for office. He's a socialist. He's not a socialist. He was an old man, but he's not a socialist. But we now actually have that, and it could be in one of the most largest and most impactful cities in the country when it comes to elections. I think that it's a lens to the Democratic Party to see where we're at, because if they elect this guy to the office of mayor, where does Democrats stand? Where does it look like coming into the midterms? Does this mean that this will be a follow-through in other and smaller districts? Is this necessarily good for the Democratic Party? And all those answers, I don't have the full answer for you. I don't think that it's good for the Democratic Party, but, guys, I don't know. Where's your take? I know you guys have something.
I'd love to hear Jess's insight on this because she gave a great point last week kind of about what could be happening.
Yeah, I think that having Mamdani be the next mayor would probably be a good move. I'm curious the last time we saw a Democratic Socialist on a large platform or a large stage was Bernie Sanders. I think he is the one that most people can think of. And he had a lot of support nationwide. As we saw, he didn't win the presidency, but he put up a good fight. Now we see Mamdani here in New York. New York is one of the more progressive states. They're one of the no funny business, no nonsense states. And they tend to be leaders when it comes to your national progressive stance. One of the complaints for our politicians right now is that they're old and they're out of touch. And while that is a little bit ageist, I think that there is some truth to that reality. And it might be good to bring in somebody who is of an ethnic minority, who is a democratic socialist, who's a little bit younger. We're bringing in a number of fresh views that it's going to inject something new that we need to in this political scene.
Oh, I agree with you. I don't know if it's necessarily the smartest move for the Democratic Party. I'm not sure. I'm not fully sold on that yet. I know that there's a move that has to be made. Let me put it that way, though. I know that the Democrats are in a position where they need to do something. They keep losing. And let's be frank, guys, they can't talk to people. That's where it's at. That's where it is. Democrats have not been able to do that since the days that Tom Daschle was running the party. And when those days were over, even Tom Brokaw said we see a new Democratic Party during that time. Tom Daschle was, one of the most conservative Democrats that the country had seen, and probably the last old blue dog that you would find. That being said, I don't know. I don't know where we're at. I don't know what's going to happen. What I can say is that we have to be very careful with the fracturing of the party. Sorry. We have to be very careful if the party's going to fracture. I'm afraid of that because we're looking at a point where the Republicans may also fracture. And so where does that align the country?
I mean,
North Dakota, I have a few thoughts there. I don't know if y'all remembered last week or the week before, I said something about not really loving the two-party system. If you're telling me that the Democrats are about to fracture and the Republicans are about to fracture, does that mean we're looking at a four-party system? I mean, we've never seen that. We've never seen something like that in the United States. And who knows what it would look like moving forward? Who knows if it's even feasible to adjust to that moving forward? I mean, we're talking some really, really big differences. But personally, I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world.
I think that we need to live in a world where we're looking at the party splitting. You've got a lot of conservative, but not right-wing Republicans who are looking to come over to the middle. You've got a lot of Democrats who are looking for some change, and a lot of young Democrats. And they're not invigorated with the party that they have now. And I do believe that is definitely something that we may see here.
No, I totally agree. I think there's a whole group of young Democrats that are ready to stand up from the party, and there are Republicans that are just like not really feeling what's going on. The Republican Party. I mean, a lot of them didn't even want who's the president at the presidency. So it's no telling where we go from there.
I agree. I don't know. Where are you at, Jess?
Yeah, I think we just need to kind of play it by ear and see where it goes, but adaptability is number one. We are seeing a lot of change. We're seeing some unprecedented times in the American culture and the American politics or political stage, but it's not new in the course of history. It's just new for us in our country. And there are a number of ways that other countries have handled it. And what one thing is for sure is that change is going to happen, and we need to be able to adjust with it. The make America great again, go back in time and do what we used to do doesn't work. Even if what we're referring to was a great country, times have changed. Policy has changed, technology has changed. There's so much that's different about our reality right now. Going back and using the template of 100 years ago is never going to work in today's times, no matter what, even if it's something that you supported back then. Going back because of nostalgia, or I don't know, it's just not.
My biggest concern.
It's not a feasible way for me.
Well, and I agree. I think my biggest concern here is not so much of what, or if, it's a matter of what it is and what it looks like. I don't want to see us fracture into a point to where we go further to the left. I think that is a possibility that we live in right now. We can see both parties move further to the right and to the left and away from each other, leaving a very small demographic in the center. I think that the conversation in communities should be had where we have a conversation that brings people together in these communities that lean further to the right or to the left, to bring them to a common ground, to have these discussions. But, that's kind of where I'm at. But kind of interest of keeping us rolling along here. 20 years ago, the Hurricane Katrina. We live in a world where science now is exponentially better. 20 years ago, we're talking about the possibility of cloud seeding. We're talking about the possibility of weather modification. We live in that world now, where that can be done. It is not beyond the possibility in the realm of actuality. That all being said, where we sit with the current administration, I don't know. Their policies is to rip apart the big federal government and leave it to the states. And there was something to be said about that. There is something to be said about that. But at the same time, and this is where I stand, Alaska and California and Texas and North Dakota did not fight on the World War I alone. World War II alone. They did not fight in World War II alone. No. And but they do have needs that are unique of their own. They have their own unique needs. Texas can be hit by hurricanes, and California can be devastated by earthquakes, and Alaska can be devastated by earthquakes and tsunamis and be crushed by snow afterwards. Every state has its own unique demographic, its own unique piece. Where in the state of Pennsylvania, you have a split state where you could possibly have snow in one half of the region and a flood in the other half of the region. And the middle part of the region could be sitting in so much fog that it causes a massive pileup on I-83. You're living in upstate New York, you could be buried under 15 feet of snow, while downstate inside of New York City, you could be living under a flood warning. You could have a blizzard with immense winds. Every state, every location, every place has its own unique needs, and they come up, and they will come up. And I don't want to see in America where something horrible happens and there is no one coming to the rescue. And we saw that 20 years ago with Hurricane Katrina. We saw that. No one came. No one.
And not only did we see no one show up with Katrina, but we knew that the levees weren't up to standard, and nobody did anything about it. They said that they knew before Katrina even hit that it wasn't going to be good enough, and nothing happened about it. And next thing you know, we have this massive hurricane, massive amounts of flooding. They held up for a little while until they didn't, and next thing you know, we have flooding after the fact. It's horrible. It's denial, and it's because
it's unimaginable to me, quite honestly. It's unfathomable, quite honestly, as well. That could have happened then, and it was depressing then. But in a world where we live now, where we have all survived COVID, I don't see why we should live in that realm. Hurricane season is now, and winter is around the corner. And quite honestly, we shouldn't be living in that realm. But, you know, this goes back to the government, the current administration, trying to rip apart what exists. You know, it's something to be said between the CDC and the FEMA. You know, there is a program that lived inside of CDC that they went around the earth to find all of the hotspot viruses that would pop up. This program existed. They would go and they would report back on the probability of its spread. And I know that it was reported on during COVID, and I'm bringing it back up now, that, you know, that program itself was cut. That program was cut. And quite honestly, it shouldn't be something that we live in, you know, but that program being cut during COVID shared some serious results. And I don't want to see a remake of that again. But with all of that, you know, it has been a full show, guys. It's always great having you guys here. And, you know, even with our technical challenges, sometimes we try to bring you the best show that we possibly can, guys. To the viewers out there, you know, first off, as one of the executive producers, I apologize, but at the same time, we're happy to be here for you. We strive to bring you quality television. We strive to bring you the best information here at Capital Discourse and all of our other shows. We will do that. We will bring you that quality television. We will do that with the best of our ability and all of the resources that we have available to you. We will bring you some of the most invigorating pieces that will bring hope and new meaning to television, because it is our hope that we restore quality and trust inside of television. With all of those things being said, you know, I hope that you join us again for our next episode of Capital Discourse here, and we will see you again next Sunday. And I am your host, Dakota Jones, here with Jess Wyatt and TJ Fields. Thank you.